Alright, what's happening, fam? L.A.R movement still moving. This one is entitled A Community Protecting Predators. Um, we're going to have a conversation about blaming children, teenagers, and young adults for these societal problems that we're having, but not really taking a good look into the people who are causing these issues. We always look at the effects, but we come down on the effects harder than we do the cause. And what I mean by that is this: let's take sexually. Let's take molestation and rape for instance. You have people who say who don't want to admit that a lot of these there are way too many young girls out here getting molested and raped. There are way too many young boys out here getting molested and raped. You can't to act like all of the effeminization of these boys and all of the hyper anger of these girls has to come from a bad situations. It's not coming from an ideal space, and one of those spaces is rape and molestation. Now to say, well, where are the fathers at in these homes? I understand that. That's why I'm getting into protecting, a community protecting predators. Nobody really gets on people for blocking a father from interacting with their child. Nobody gets on a family for their dysfunctional behavior being passed on to a child, and everybody forms as a unit to cover it up. Nobody gets on the family members who find out that their child has been sexually assaulted, and the don't keep this a secret. We got to keep this in the family. We can't let your other family, your father and their family know what's going on, because if we do, oh my God, hypothetically they're going to take you out of this dangerous situation and look at us like we're crazy, which absolutely is right. We don't talk about the response that some of these fathers would have. So, like, literally they might try to kill somebody, and then you might have a rapist, child molester, pedophile defile a child or a teenager, or a young adult, and when somebody catches wind of that, they're ready to take their head off, and you have a team of people, in a line like Red Rover, no, you got to go through us to get to this person that molested this child, because we need to protect them. We don't talk about that. The reason I'm saying that is because of, like I said, the effeminate boys and the angry girls. The anger with the girls doesn't come from somewhere. Of course they're angry, they fighting. You can see the hatred in their eyes, because they don't feel protected. They feel like they have to be vicious to make sure people don't touch them. It's hard to be soft in a situation like that. With the boys, some of them become effeminate, and people don't want to say that's the part of the rise of the homosexuality in the community comes from a lot of rape and molestation, and some of them become how can I say, womanizers because of dealing with that. People in society is funny, because I forget the lady, the male rapist is bad, but the Antoine Fisher type lady who likes screwing little boys, people just it's just you know, she just it's okay. It's not okay. You know, same thing spills over into to the educational system where you find the teachers screwing kids every week, but it's not really an epidemic because of one, it's female on male, and it's usually white on non-white. You know, maybe mostly to me, I've seen mostly black, but I'm sure there are other races involved with that. Um, Same thing with the criminal element. You know, people complain and cry about all of the crime that goes on in bad in these neighborhoods and in society, but are not completely honest about the fact that we have families and friends protecting drug dealers, protecting murderers, protecting um, armed robbers, protecting how can I say muscle. You know what I'm saying? Protecting people who are destructive in occupation and behavior, and then run around once somebody said we need to deal with this element. Oh my God, why? You know, why? And it's twisted because you have people benefiting from this criminal activity, wanting the criminal activity to stop, but don't want you to, want you to give their family member who's a criminal a pass, but everybody else's family can get it. So it's the same scenario with people lined up like Red Rover. You can't get to my family members protected. You know, my mother used to call it the blood of Jesus. You know, people that come together, you know, for stuff like that, and it sends a bad message. Same thing with the law enforcement. The society, you have the ability as law enforcement to basically be evil with impunity and no self-control, and have a department, internal affairs. Because let's be honest, man, even with internal affairs, you're not gonna. How much have they done really? Now, and they've done some positive things, but you know, in most people's estimation, they don't really do much, but just cause tension between internal affairs and whatever department it is. You know, going in the community, talking about you protecting and serving, but nobody knows who you're protecting, and nobody knows who you're serving. You know, and in the comfortable nature of, like, including the unions and media and propaganda, the comfortable nature of being able to kill somebody with impunity and go home and watch the game and drink a beer, knowing that you really didn't have to do it. You just did it because you could get away with it. And people protect that, which creates a worse societal situation. Religiously, people are selling people up the river by telling them to have faith, and just sliding in there that faith without works is dead. But not actually leading people to salvation, but in the reverse, leading them to damnation. And everybody is cool with that because, you know, the message and the music makes me feel good while I'm in a time of need, which is not particularly, for one, it's not effective. For two, it's not real. You know, and three, it's hypocritical. And to protect these figures, when if I'm not mistaken, it says something to the shepherd will be held to a high standard, because the shepherd leads his flock. So if you lead a bunch of people down a destructive path or led astray, you're gonna suffer their consequences because you led them down that path. But we have people protecting people, leading people down a bad path, pretty much because it's profitable, you know, and not admitting that all of these things are working cohesively and simultaneously, well, along with other things that I could get into. And we as a society are trying to pick out an individual thing, like let's fight this individual problem, when it's really just pointing the finger away from your issue. You know, you might be a sexual predator, but you're pointing at a criminal who's pointing at a pastor, who's, you know, pointing at a police officer. So it's all of this going around, and everybody's looking in one direction, when really the destruction is in is surrounding you and engulfing you, and you stuck in a hot box getting shot from every direction. So to end these problems that we're going on, part of the solution is we have to address and eliminate the support systems for these people, and the protectors for these predators gotta go just like these predators do. So I'm out. Peace.